Bois, oh god, this is absolutely amazing, is £425. A little bit more intimate, nighttime, evening type of wear. Welcome back guys to another video. In today's video I'm just kind of featuring creamy lactonic fragrances. By the way, these aren't just all feminine, so any gents kind of watching, if you do prefer something a bit creamier and lactonic, I think you'd really love these. Good mix between designer niche and like luxury designer, I guess. So if you guys like this style of video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'm on the road to 10,000 subs, so hopefully one day I'll hit that. And when I do, by the way, I'm going to do a really massive giveaway, so I'm really excited. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll just jump straight in. So the first fragrance that I have was actually kindly sent from Fragrance du Bois. They didn't, you know, obligate me to do any type of review or anything, but I do really enjoy this fragrance. And to be fair, I did a video, I think more towards like the start of the year or some when I came back onto YouTube, and I did review it when it first came out, so I did have like really nice thoughts about it, and since them sending it to me, I do really love it. What I think is really pretty is typically a lot of the Fragrance du Bois bottles, they come in the black box, so I do have a couple of Fragrance du Bois that I bought myself obviously like some years ago, and they always come in a black velvet type of box like this. But Sirene comes in this really beautiful off pink, slightly lavender type of color, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I have to say, even though Fragrance du Bois is definitely on the expensive side, I think they do, you know, put a lot of effort and time and thought into the packaging in comparison to maybe other brands out there. So this is how it looks like. It's a really beautiful bottle. I mean, everything about it is just gorgeous, and I believe, let me just double check because I think this is a slightly different size. I believe this is a 75 ml, and for the 75 ml it's just over £200. As the Fragrance du Bois fragrances go, I think this is slightly more on the affordable side. I do know that they can go quite expensive, but this one is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know whether you can see that, but it has like the Swarovski crystal embellishments with the pink, and I just think honestly they've put so much time and effort into it, especially for a Christmas gift. If you do have a loved one, a wife, a partner, a girlfriend, sister, whoever it might be, I think this is a fantastic gift, and just everything about it is just super luxurious. So anyway, let's get into the fragrance. So Sirene is known as a cherry oud fragrance, but I think it is definitely leaning a little bit creamy and lactonic. So I've sprayed this a few times on my skin. As I said before, I had tested it in the past, and I did think that it was quite creamy as well. So this one to me first opens up with a very tart, fruity, almost cherry glacé type of cherry opening. So it's quite similar to actually Lost Cherry, but I think it's even tarter in the beginning. Slowly what happens to this fragrance, it then mellows out. So the oud is quite strong in here. It is more of a smoky oud than anything. So if you can imagine something a little bit more incensey, a little bit more smoky and mysterious, that's definitely the type of oud that you have in here. On top of that, you have black pepper, you have notes like cypriol, which I think cypriol in any type of fragrance, so it can be used to make an oud accord, but I think it adds like a layer of luxuriousness and mysteriousness, if that's even a word, around, you know, the way it smells. What I love about this fragrance is as soon as that tartness dissipates in the beginning, you then are left with a really creamy lactonic oudy type of base. And I think this on a night out, I actually show this to my mum-in-law, and she typically doesn't really like any type of gourmand, fruity or woody type of fragrances, but she really liked this for what it was, and the way she described it was absolutely perfect. Like if you can imagine a very simplistic black dress, hardly any jewelry, maybe some cut out details, and then this layered on top, I think this really just speaks for itself. Definitely more of a nighttime, evening kind of fragrance, but I can picture this worn literally any season. So if you guys have never tried it before, definitely give Sirene from Fragrance du Bois a go. So the next fragrance that I have is one that I actually don't particularly like on myself, but I know that it's very popular and I know a lot of people absolutely love it. So this is Blanche Bête from Imaginaires. This is a really gorgeous, musky, very lactonic type of fragrance. And when I mean lactonic, I mean literally it smells like pure milk to me, and I think that's where it goes wrong. I mean, typically lactonic fragrances tend to do really well on my skin, but this one for some reason goes into that musky realm where I don't particularly like it, but I found out what's making it like that for me. Having said that though, any ladies who are into vanilla, musky, very milky, like almost like you're having a vanilla milkshake, then I think this is a really gorgeous fragrance. With it smelling literally like vanilla milkshake, I don't think it smells juvenile in my opinion. I do think it smells a little bit more mature, a little bit more put together. I think that's definitely coming from the ambrette, and I think that's where it goes wrong on my skin. So typically ambrette is used to kind of imitate musk. So obviously you can't have musk in fragrances anymore. I don't think it's even legal. Whereas ambrette is technically used to make that very musky, sweet, almost like skin scent type of smell. And sometimes I do find ambrette to be quite cloying, quite a lot to take on, to be honest, and this is what's going wrong on my skin. That is what's making it a bit cloying for me. Having said all of this, the reason why I really wanted to feature this is because I know that it's very milky, it's very lactonic, and what might work on your skin might not work on mine, and vice versa. So potentially I might be recommending something that you will fall in love with that I don't really love. So yeah, if you've never tried this before, definitely give Blanche Bête from Imaginaires a go. So the next fragrance that I have is an absolute beauty. Nobody talks about this apart from my friend Giselle, GB Fragrances on YouTube, and I think that it's a massive shame that all of the Boucheron fragrances are out of this world, and you can get them for a really, really good discount. In fact, this Black Friday I will be buying myself a bottle. I think it's like 125 ml for something ridiculous like £75, and I think I can get it for even lower. So that's why I'm definitely going to grab myself a bottle if I can. So as I said, this is called Syracuse from Boucheron. Now, just from the name, you'll obviously know that this is a heavily iris fragrance, and I've talked about it so many times on my channel, and I think I'll just be repeating myself constantly. Iris can definitely go in two different avenues. So it can either go quite lipsticky, makeup-y, powdery, or it can also go quite creamy, buttery, and typically in all fragrances they use orris or orris butter, so that's kind of like the natural that they use. But this one is really interesting because you have so many layers to it. So first of all, it definitely has that makeup-y, lipsticky, powdery type of element to it, but also goes very buttery and musky and creamy. So I think what's happening in this fragrance is you have heliotrope. Typically I'm not a fan of heliotrope whatsoever. I really dislike it, but I know that it has quite an almondy, musky creaminess type of thing that goes on in it, and I think that paired with the iris and maybe some sandalwood or some other creamy notes like some musk really makes it smell almost quite lactonic. And then in the beginning you have some fruitiness, and the fruitiness in here is very fizzy. It's fizzy, it's sweet, it's light, and just everything in general, just this whole fragrance is absolutely out of this world. If you can imagine fizzy iced fruits mixed with like some lipstick, and then all ending with like a very buttery milkshakey type of essence. It's a really gorgeous fragrance. It's quite mature, but I think most women or even men can definitely pull this off, and I think it works all year round. No matter what the season is, I think you can definitely pull this off. And as I said, for the price, I think this is just a masterpiece. So if you guys have never tried Iris Syracuse from Boucheron, definitely give that one a go. So now moving on to a fan favorite. All of you guys will know this one. So this is Baciami from Bvlgari, and finally I'm getting the pronunciation right. That in Italian translates to kiss me, and boy, oh god, this is absolutely amazing. This is a really heavy gardenia type of fragrance, so if you're not into white floral fragrances, you will definitely not like this. But gardenia and white florals, whether that's tuberose, jasmine maybe not so much, but definitely tuberose and gardenia can go very creamy and lactonic. I think as well, What is really beautiful about this fragrance is you have vanilla, you have amber, but in all honesty, I don't think it's just that. I think definitely the gardenia gives like this musky creaminess in the fragrance, but they must have added some type of musk in here as well because it's so smooth, creamy. The vanilla is a very rich vanilla extract. It's not like, and it goes maybe a little bit buttery, but it's not like your, I don't know, vanilla pod or vanilla icing. This isn't like a juvenile fragrance whatsoever. This is definitely a little bit more on the mature side. In terms of sweetness level, this is very sweet. It's very thick as a fragrance, so typically I wouldn't really recommend to overspray this. I would say definitely be quite easy with the trigger. I think I got this sometime last Christmas. I think my partner bought me this fragrance as a Christmas present and I absolutely adore it. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous fragrance, and even the bottle itself, like it's all red glass. I mean, this is a Christmas present. Again, when we were talking about what would be an ideal present for a loved one, this as well would be an ideal present. Obviously they would need to test it beforehand because it is a little bit polarizing with it being a very heavy white floral fragrance, but as I said, that with the vanilla and this like ambery muskiness going on in the background, it's a really gorgeous fragrance. I find it quite sexy personally, but again, not to overspray it, otherwise I do think it can go a little bit cloying with it being so sweet. Never tried it before, and if you want to give it a go, definitely try Baciami from Bvlgari. So now moving on to a fragrance that I've never spoken about on the channel, but I've loved for a long time. This is from Memo Paris, and as you guys know, I'm a really big fan of Memo. In fact, the one that I should have really featured was La Libella, but I don't have that bottle with me anymore. But they did recently send me this beautiful advent calendar. Again, that was a massive pinch me moment because I thought to myself, I've literally been buying from Memo Paris for years, and for them to like reach out and, you know, to send me an advent calendar, it was their PR team, but nonetheless I was literally like, what the hell is going on in my life? Anyway, I know a lot of people love Memo Paris and typically they're known for their leather fragrances, but I think they do creaminess very, very well, particularly in the feminine leaning floral type of fragrances they offer. So Marfa is definitely a tuberose heavy fragrance. I'm just going to spray it here for you guys. The beginning is very green and tart, and I think that's probably coming from the agave. So if you can imagine like a margarita, you know that greenness that a margarita has, because obviously it has the mixture of tequila. It's a very vibrant, fizzy, sweet type of fragrance, but then soon enough that greenness goes and then you're left with like a really buttery, lactonic, coconutty type of tuberose. This is very creamy. So tuberose, again, like what we're saying with Baciami, it can go either way. For me, it can go like quite bubblegummy, very creamy, banana-esque. It's very creamy, coconutty. To me, it almost smells like a pina colada in a weird way. So you know how pina colada has like milk, coconut, can have like some banana added in there as well. This to me is exactly what a pina colada smells like, and I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. It does sit a bit close to the skin, so maybe it doesn't project as much, but I don't think that's always an issue. I don't want a fragrance to constantly project and be beast mode all the time. Sometimes something a little bit closer to the skin, something a little bit more intimate is also really nice. So yeah, definitely give Marfa from Memo Paris a go. So the next fragrance that I have is one that I don't have in my collection, but as far as creamy lactonic fragrances go, I do think this does go quite creamy lactonic. This is Guidance from Amouage. Now I know that this is a very popular fragrance. In fact, they do have the Guidance 46 extract, but personally I just think it's so expensive, guys. I mean, let me just check what the price is actually, because I remember it being incredibly pricey. So Guidance 46 for the 100 ml is £425. I know that, you know, a lot of us have expensive taste, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I absolutely love all types of fragrances, whether that's niche, designer, luxury designer. But personally, I don't think I've ever spent over £275. I do like things on a bit of a discount as well, and I think it's rare that you can get this one on a discount. I just think it's crazy. So personally, I mean, as much as the 46 is absolutely beautiful and very creamy and sweet, I think this one does just the job, and it is definitely a little bit less pricey. As far as the fragrance goes, it is still a little bit more expensive, but I do know that you could possibly get it for a discount, whether you sign up to their newsletter, whether you buy it from, say, one of their distributors, for example. Anyway, all of this to say, this to me is quite simply hazelnut milkshake with apricot pastry. I know a lot of people would disagree with me, but I find this very sweet, and I think that's coming from the osmanthus. So osmanthus technically goes quite apricotty, and then mixed with like some sandalwood, some vanilla, some hazelnut. This is a very sweet, luxurious fragrance. You know, as far as gourmands go, I think this is very gourmand leaning. People do say that this is more floral woody, and technically the notes do say that. Like very sharp apricot pastry mixed with like this hazelnut milkiness that's going on in the base. It's a really beautiful fragrance, and I think for most women, I think this will be really fantastic, especially as like a summer evenings, or even just winter evenings, to be honest, going out type of fragrance. The projection is beastly on this. The sillage is insane, so I think you literally just need to spray a few sprays. So if you've never tried it before, definitely try Guidance from Amouage. Now moving on to something that's a little bit more affordable. In the designer realm, we have Dolce & Gabbana, the Only One Intense. I know for a fact that you can get this for a really great discount. So if you've ever been intrigued by this fragrance, definitely give it a go. But straight off the bat, guys, this is leaning more skin scent. This is not a great projector. This doesn't last very long either, so definitely take that into account. So a lot of people say that this smells similar to Alien or Rouge Malachite, and I kind of get that because it is a heavy white floral fragrance, so it has a mixture of tuberose, orange blossom, jasmine. Also has some neroli in the top and apple, which makes it quite fresh and tart. You also have vanilla and coconut and cashmere in the base, and that mixture makes it smell very creamy, almost leaning a little bit lactonic with that coconut note. And as I said from the previous fragrances, you do get some type of lactonic creaminess that comes from white florals, whether that's tuberose, whether that's gardenia, and it's a really beautiful fragrance. It's very classy, feminine, has a slight sweetness to it. So I think if you are after something a little bit more intimate, nighttime, evening type of wear, that will garner you some compliments, then definitely try the Only One from Dolce & Gabbana. And I'm just going to spray a little bit here just to remind myself. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, the neroli might put some people off because it is definitely a little bit more on the green side and it's a bit tartar. But then soon I find that dissipates, and then the creamy vanilla coconut type of vibe comes through. It's really beautiful. If you've never tried it before, definitely give it a go. So that is the Only One Intense from Dolce & Gabbana. Ooh, this has definitely become quite a long video. So at last but certainly not least, we have Vanille des Afriques from Ormonde. This, you guys already know, is fully an addiction. I mean, I absolutely adore it. I'm hoping potentially I will get myself a full bottle. So I did snag myself like one of these 10 ml travel sizes, and just purely because of how strong this fragrance is, as it's rich and luxurious. It doesn't really project as much. It is a little bit closer to the skin, but it definitely lasts quite a long time. So two types of vanilla, almost leaning a little bit boozy type of fragrance. And I know a lot of people love this one as well. To me, the creaminess is definitely coming from the orris, which again can become quite buttery, smooth, very delightful. And then that mixed with the two types of vanilla. So in here you have Madagascan vanilla and you have bourbon vanilla, which is just absolutely unreal. I wouldn't say this isn't gourmand leaning whatsoever. This is more leaning a sweeter, woodier type of fragrance. If you are into sweeter fragrances but you don't want to smell cakey, then I think this is a really wonderful alternative. And as I said, it still has that creaminess from the iris or orris as well as the vanilla. So I think this is just smooth. It's so warm, and it almost has a slight dirtiness as well as a little bit of spice as well. And as I said in, I think it was one of my last videos, I sprayed this on one of my friends when we were out for some dinner, just kind of catching up. And one of the waitresses, no word of a lie, she passed us. She walked back and she was like, what the hell is that fragrance? And then I was explaining to her it was this one that I got from the event, and she had to write it down because she thought it was absolutely incredible. And so did my friend as well, to be honest. So if you've never tried it before, definitely give Vanille des Afriques a go from Ormonde. So guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed. Sorry if it was a little bit more rambly than usual. I tried to fit in literally as many fragrances as I possibly can into this video, so please give it a like, a thumbs up down below if you like this style of video, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye guys.